Hi, welcome ASLers. This is my strategy plan for buying time for the French. The victory conditions are as follows. The French win immediately by exiting off 12 or more victory points off of the north edge, which is the left side, as you see here. Buildings are stone, orchards are olive groves, grain is in season. An American may hit one dude, one multi-man counter, mind you. And then the Citroens, which are the trucks, have to exit when they no longer have passengers. So when they unload, they have a portage capacity of 14, so you can't even fit 3 half squads in there. But they're decent, small size, but they're just trucks. So they have to leave. Well, how does that impact the game? And I got to be honest with you, I'm focusing on the trucks and trying to get the trucks off simply because they're a free victory point. Okay? So it says 12 victory points off of the north edge. Well, half squad is 1 point, leader is 1 point, plus 1 per leadership modifier. And then we've got Citroens, which are trucks, which are worth 1 point apiece. We have 10 squads, so that's 20. And then we have 3 AMDs, which are armored cars that expend truck movement point expenditures, which means it's slow going. And so we've got that. And those guys, I think, are worth 5 apiece because they are like a vehicle or a tank or something like that. So it's like 1, and then like 2 for main armament, and then 2 for crew, or 1 point for every point of armor. They have no armor, it's 0. So I think they're worth 4 or 5. I mean, I could look it up. It's not that big a deal. But those are not going to be, quote, my priority of items getting off. You would think it would be such. And hopefully my opponent will focus on those vehicles and trying to destroy those over the trucks. Because why are the trucks important? Well, if you drop your guys off and unload, the trucks got to leave. So it's a 1 point that you got. And if the trucks get on the road, they're off in 1 movement phase. If the trucks literally get on right here, right in the middle, if the trucks make it right here, they can literally just buzz ass and get off the board in 1 movement phase. It's that fast. So you don't really need to be here. If you got rid of your trucks, your infantry would trudge along, get shot, -2, trudge along, and then get off the board. 7 turns. I come on way over here on the right-hand side where the dotted line is. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, I'm going to be mounted. So assuming let's get here, and then let's say we dismount everybody. Then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then assaults. That's turn 2, assuming no one gets broken at -2 modifiers. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 movements. 4, 5, 6. So essentially there's no firing in this game. There's no prep firing in this game unless you need something broken, and then you can move off. So the vehicles are key. Motorcycles, I think, although I've screwed them up already in the game, are paramount to your victory. Why is that? Because as you see on the board, you'll see a spot right here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. It says 8 MP, 6 MP. What the hell does that mean, Stu? 8 MP means it's how much the trucks take to get through that terrain. 6 MP for the motorcycles, because both my vehicles that are not motorcycles use truck expenditures. So I just put, I don't know what the hell it is. It's Olive Grove, for God's sake. Orchard's one thing, Olive Grove's another. Don't know it. Why look it up all the time? Print on the map board, and that way I can plan accordingly. 8 movement points for that, 6 movement points for a truck, or 6 movement points for a motorcycle. So if my truck were here, let me grab one, or let me clone one. Clone, right? I should happen to get a truck here. All right, so let's start it up. 1, let's assume it's in motion for shits and giggles. So we've got 8, 16, 20. 3 hexes, right? If we happen to get him here, we go 4, because it's 4 movement points for truck expenditures and 3 for motorcycle. Here in the grain, which my head is probably obscuring, is 5 movement points per hex and 4 movement points for motorcycles. All right, and then just some random brush in case I should happen to run into it. 6 movement points and 4, not terrible. Again, these are just reminders back here in case the action gets on the back side of the board. I put the same sort of things over here. All right, and then woods. You're not going into woods, to be honest with you. You could, but you'd have to go through like 2 woods. Like here, maybe not a bad spot for woods. Why is that? Because if you go here, then you go 4, 8, 9, 10, change cover arc 11, 12, 13, 14 and a half, 15 and a half, 16. So if you started in the woods by expending all your movement points, then you can get off from that location. I'm not going to trail break anything, but that's a possibility. If you cram your guys down here, turn 3, and you go all, and to be honest with you, if you got your vehicles right here, you stack them up in DD9, throw them all in the CC9 at the same time. You could have 4, 5, 6, 7 trucks there. All movement points is all movement points. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's all +1. It's all. So you'll be in motion. Doesn't matter with an unarmored vehicle, motion or not, whatever.
He's not going to bazooka them. He's going to just shoot you with his infantry. So he does have one hidden unit you got to worry about. And then he's got a medium and a mortar. So other than that, there's no support weapons. They are Americans. Actually, maybe not Americans. 60th Regimental Combat Team. They might be. Yeah, they are Americans. So he has 2 6.66s and 4 5.46s. Okay, 6.66 is range of 6. Everybody else range of 4, which is shorter than your range, which is key. So if you're on a vehicle and it hasn't moved, you're half firepower to a range of 5. If he's moved, right, or if he hasn't moved and you park 5 hexes away from him, he's half firepower, so he's a firepower of 2. So you're a firepower of 2 at 5 hexes. He's a firepower of 2 at 5 hexes. But you're mounted on the vehicle. And why don't you want to get off the vehicle? Because then the vehicle stops, turns around, and you lose 1 victory point for going off. So the key, the concept I'm going to follow here. I'll get to the stupid setup here right now. Platoon movement for your AMDs coming on. 0 armor. He's got a medium machine gun. It looks like it's right here. Unlikely there, probably a leader. Or those are dummies. He does have 4 dummies. Or it could possibly be right here, which is an interesting spot, to be honest with you. Because I've got to move because it's a good anti-tank weapon, right? At a range of 6, it will kill or immobilize. I think it will immobilize on a 5 or stun on a 5. I don't think they do immobilize. They just stun. And destroy on a 4 at a range of 6. That's pretty much the whole board. You got one board. Most stuff is going to be within 6 hexes. And then, if the trucks come down here and motorcycles, you just drop then you can just drop a fire lane. So the choice is yours. You can do either one. Risky, but it's possible. Well, if you want to play conservatively, you can put it somewhere else. But there's a high potential for gotcha on that spot. High potential for gotcha. So not the biggest thing, but it is a concern for mine considering everybody's coming on there. And the reason why everybody's coming on here before we get into our actual setup on the thing is when you look at this hex here. So this is the board edge. So all you VASLLOGites out there are going to crop the board at G. So nothing will show on G. And then what you'll probably do is you go here and let's see, where the hell is it? You probably pull your hex grid out and then you pop it right there or wherever it may be where the hex grid G is cut off and set up your units. And the next thing you'll probably do is you see this road here, it's leading off board and you see it kind of zigzag like this. Well, you'll probably think that it continues to go like this. It doesn't do that. You actually read the rules on cut up boards. The road exists on that board. That is not a board edge. This is not a board edge. This is a game edge. This is a board. Well, that's not even a board. I don't even know why the hell that's there. This is a board edge right here. The GG row. That's not even a board edge either. But that one's not that important. So at GG5, if you come on either one of these boards, left or right, and you came on that board and the other board doesn't exist, that road continues on the 5th hex row. So you just string them all out and drive them on. That's the problem I had up here. Okay, you can do either way. So if you set up your guys up there, and I'll just use that truck over here as an example. Right, you set the truck up here. Let's assume truck there and then truck there. Right, you set that up saying, okay, that's the road because the board edge ends and then the road just continues. It doesn't. So one guy's on the road, he's not on the road, and he's not on the road. Let's assume that let me just copy these. The idea with the concept was that these guys would be coming on here, and these guys are just I'm just gonna delete these guys. Maybe. Come on, Jesus Christ. Control D. All right. You might set them up like that. The infantry you can't really platoon movement or armored assault with these guys because they're platoon. And you have to come on the platoon with these dudes. So if you were to move this guy down, let's say you just want to go down the road, over on this guy, or just be a nuisance. So your first hex movement is going to be, this unit is going to act as this unit. So he's going to move there. The back unit will move up. So he expended 1. Let's assume they're not CE. He entered a roadway. So that is how much? 4 movement points. And the guy's in the open ground as well. So you've just expended 4 movement points in that one location. Next hex. There, and there. What do we do again? We just entered an open ground location. That's another 4 points. So in 2 hexes, we've got 8. Now, do we have 12 left? Yeah, we have 12 left. And assuming you are not CE, which these can't fire their main armaments if they're CE, I think they can fire their rear machine guns. That'd be interesting to look into. But let's say you're creeping down the road. So it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's say you get the whole way here at 14. Can you overrun this unit? That's where he sets up, H and over. Can you overrun that unit? 1/4 movement points. So that was 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If that was, let's say it was 14, right? 1/4 of your movement points is 5, and then 1 for the hex is 6. If you were at 14 here, 4, 8, or 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, you can get 14 here, and then you can overrun this unit in the Woods Road. Problem with that is he doesn't have to pass a PATC if he's on the Woods Road being overrun. So your overrun's going to be minuscule. It'll be 2 plus 4. I think you can use a rear for that. I think you can. 12, 6, 8, maybe 8. Had 4 plus 1. For that concealed guy to be there and all your tanks are just kind of like sitting here, you could do that. But the point I'm getting to is the road does not continue on the left, and so therefore the speed of an attack on there is going to be slower than you think. Sure, you could start CE and get to this point J1 pretty quickly, and then but essentially it's going to save you 3 movement points, to be honest with you. So instead of 14, it'll be like 11. Will that make a difference? Not really. So what I did, so I said screw it, because I had some infantry up there too. I said, nah, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to send them down the bottom, and if you look at them, you'll see various amounts of units. Of course, all these guys are going to be concealed when they're coming on. So you've got here a squad in the truck, then you've got a leader, LMG 457 on motorcycles. The 28 motorcycles, 28 movement factor point motorcycles are very valuable. A guy in a truck, a deployed unit with a mortar in a truck, squad in a truck, squad in a truck. Do I get 5? 6 there is right there. 6 guys, 6 trucks. 6 guys, 6 trucks, and then the other 4 guys are on motorcycles. 1 auto deploy, and then what I'm going to do on the first turn is deploy, deploy, deploy. Why would I want to deploy? I'm going to deploy the guys either, I'm going to try these 2 guys, this guy first with 8-1, deploy the guys in the truck. So if I needed ground troops, I could drop off 1, 2, 3, 7 because he will deploy into 2 half squads, right? And go on top for whatever reason. So you're going to have 2 half squads there. Then that unit can stop somewhere, drop off a 2, 3, 7, and guess what? You've got like a half squad of firepower. So essentially you can have 5 squads on the ground, which can either draw fire or whatever. And then you can have 2 more victory points available to run off. You say, well, still, he's like, it's an armored car. It's a piece of garbage. Yeah, but what is the armored car not going to be exposed to? You tell me. Does he have any anti-tank fire? Anti-tank fire is not going to be used against an unarmored vehicle anyway. Your kill values are pretty low unless you're like shooting HE at it, and then it's pretty decent. But it's a truck. You could actually IFT it and destroy it. So the IFT of that truck, again, with units that have 5 firepower, let's assume the 666s, you don't want to drive towards them anyway, regardless of whether you're a truck or whatever. So at a 4 firepower, he needs a 5 of the star level to immobilize the vehicle. We don't care about the guys inside yet. If he immobilizes the vehicle on a 5, which is the same thing as like a to kill of the mortar on the armored vehicle. So for all intents and purposes, all of his, quote, to kill numbers or immobilization numbers are like 5 and below. Can you roll that? Yeah, but hey, he can't. He's not going to roll 5, 6 5, 6 trucks, 6 5s in one turn. Unlikely. And then hopefully the next movement phase you can move past them. So maybe half your guys can get past. I'm thinking if you get 3 trucks past, that's 6 points, half your victory conditions. And then guess what? You either got maybe an armored car that could fly by for 4 or 5. So that's 10. And guess what? The 8-1 leader on a motorcycle, which scoots at 28 movement points, is 12. So you literally need 3 trucks with half squads, 1 armored car, 1 leader on a motorcycle to get off. Everybody else can die. Everybody else will probably die. Okay? So that's the kicker. That's the kicker that I'm getting in this. This is why I've chosen this scenario, is because you get shit armor instead of the Panzer 6s and shit like that. The hell with that. You got shit armor. And to be honest with you, well, I'll get into that in a second. Shit armor. You've got trucks that recall, so essentially you have to stay on them, which means you're half firepower for being a passenger. If you move the vehicle, you will then be 1/4 firepower. Do we care about that? Not really. That gives us 1 firepower for the infantry. If he moves at a range of 5, that's a 1-2 in the open. So we're going to try and cut off some paths, curtail his movement. Even infantry units in a truck at a 1-2 means a 7 is a pin task check. And guess what? 6 morale Americans are not likely to pass their pin task checks. Okay? So you don't need lots of firepower when you're looking at the Americans. Other things to consider, the motorcycles, 28 and 24, those are very good. Your survivability on a motorcycle is actually quite high. When you drive the motorcycle, and if you take a look at it here, these are my motorcycles that I modified so they don't clutter up the board. So you get to actually see what's under the motorcycle like that. So that's the idea behind that. And so 28, so how do you use a motorcycle? Well, it's at 28 movement points. It's half on the road. Another thing the motorcycles do, they can drive through other vehicles and not be exposed to the extra MP it costs to go through a vehicle's hex. You could drive through on the road, no impact, because you just go single file, and you just zip around them. Sweet. So the road movement is free. Moving through vehicles, free. The vehicles moving through them, free. So you got other weird things happening, but you could zip on the board and make it 4 or 5 hexes if you wanted to on turn 1. You know, why are they so far in the back? Who cares? They have 28 movement points. 28 movement points. So it takes 3 to get to the front. Now you have 25. Wow. I've used 10% of my movement points. So we got 1, 2, 3, another 3. So that's 6. Guess how much of these are? 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and a stop. 27 and a stop. I actually should have done that in the beginning. Just zip my guys, just all of them. And just deploy those and spread them out. That'd be kind of cool, to be honest. That would be actually probably a better deploy than what I'm doing right now. So you can have a line of motorcycles, like pretty much like right here in this area. So, vulnerabilities of motorcycle. So, hey, Stu, you're going to bail out if they shoot you. Nah, this is very interesting. This is kind of what I found out during the game. You are a -1 infantry dice roll modifier. Infantry fire table DRM is the -1. That's what you see on the counter. Also, it's a -1 for to hit. So if he fires something as ordnance at me, it's going to be a -1. It's unlikely that he's going to do that. So it's essentially, for all intents and purposes in this game, it's going to be a -1 infantry fire table DRM. Dice roll modifier, not a die roll modifier. So guess what? If I'm moving as the infantry at that same location, it's going to be firepower -2. Moving in the open, non-assault movement. That essentially increases his firepower by 2 or 4 on average. Well, if he's got a 4 firepower, it'll be 2. If he's firing just 6, it'll be 8. So essentially, it's going to move at 1 column. Okay, so another thing about it is those units that are subject to the first fire movement in the open and non-assault movement could be subject to pin and things like that. Non-moving, well, motorcyclists are not subject to pin task checks, which automatically eliminates that last number he needs for an effect. And guess what? You need to move. Pin task checks, no effect. If you break on a motorcycle and are moving, then you bail out like you would bail out normally, the normal bailout rules. If you are stopped on a motorcycle, again, don't leave them in motion. You got plenty of movement points for these things. Don't motion your motorcycles, mostly. If you stop on a motorcycle and you're in range and somebody shoots you and you fail a morale check, you simply are broken and put under the motorcycle counter. You automatically dismount, no harm, no foul, no nothing. Motorcycle sits there, doesn't get destroyed, and you just walk on. You just walk on. Because most likely, yeah. But if you bail and fail a morale check, motorcycles are blown. So stop on the motorcycles. As long as you're not like in range. Actually, if you are in range, you'd be better off to stop than keep driving. First of all, your firepower is only be half instead of quartered. And if you fail a morale check, if you should happen to move his units, you know, to get a shot on you, then you don't care if you break because you're just going to be normally just thrown on the ground. No bailout. So check out this motorcycle rules. And that's another reason why I chose to play a scenario. Is because it's got motorcycles, trucks that have value on them, and cheap ass armor. So that's the idea behind that. If necessary, drive these vehicles up, drop a unit off to just do whatever, capture a unit, whatever, or just delay guys. Because again, it's three points or 2 points bonus. Motorcycles, they've got the heavy armaments, going to move them up there. I'd like to keep them mobile, but sometimes somebody's got to be on ground, so you have to stop him from just actually just charging your trucks and shooting at them. Sort of like what we had in Price of Impatience, right? You've got to load a couple guys. Otherwise, the partisans just roll up on you. Hell, if they jump you in close combat, you're in a heap of shit. For all intents and purposes, the base modifier against an unarmored vehicle is -5. I'm not sure if the machine gun thing applies, but that's what we applied in our game. So anyway, but accompanying personnel increase your modifiers, so it's not too bad. So passengers help on your close combat value. Their attacks suck, but their defense is very good. So I just lined them up on the road. I'm going to chug down this road here. You know, I'm just going to, what number? I'm just going to chug down this road here, maybe send a couple units this way to bait this guy here. I'm going to run a motorcycle down here and hopefully find out if something's in that location because I don't want my other units broken. And then the armored cars are either going to come into this area or coming over this area. We need to charge full force with the armored cars to overwhelm any defenders. You don't want to piecemeal them. You want to chug, because first of all, the platoon movement. So trying to move them separately is not extremely difficult, but if you don't roll it, then you don't move. And if you're like me, you can't roll or shit. So we're going to chug some guys down here, fire at this guy because he's going to fire. That's why he's there. Maybe fire at this guy if that's a real unit. If either one of those are real units. And then, be exposed to their fire. You can't be afraid of their mortar fire. You can't be afraid of their medium machine gun attacks on you. You just got to suck it up. You can't Well, he could potentially kill all 3 of your tanks in 1 turn. But hey, whatever. That's the way the battle fights. You can't just come up in this area and just park. Because you know what? That's what he wants. He wants you to sit up. He wants you to engage him and park. Problem is, he's got other units back here that are just going to move up to here. What's the problem with that? Motorcycles can't go over those. I think truck movements can't go over walls. So for all intents and purposes, that is just a solid barrier. You know, that is an impassable barrier of your units. Nothing is getting by there. Nothing is getting by here. Nothing is getting by here. Okay? You could bypass these hexes here. Right? You can bypass this. You can bypass that. What's double 4? What's double 3? You're spending 8 movement points out of your allotment of 20 or 23 for 1 hex side. So you go 8, 9, and then another 8, 17. You can't even enter this hex unless you're the truck with 23. So if you start in DD7 in motion, you're going here and here, and that's it. You know, the trucks that are 20, the armored cars aren't going to make it past 2 hex sides. You might want to take those guys right down the road. You know, he's got bazookas. You know, probably a bazooka here. Hidden guy could be anywhere. Could be right here. The hidden guy could be right here. Or under this concealed unit, because if he wants to move him up and act like, hey, I'm a concealed unit going into this DD6, you know, come fight me. And then he has a guy right here pops up from the spot that he left. Again, your avenues of approach or your exits, and I got to be honest with you, after seeing the exit in this scenario, it's like, you could just troll the living shit out of this scenario. Just park everybody in this area. Just stone building, stone wall, hedge. You know, these are +1 terrain because they're olive groves. This is a very defendable area. And is he going to drive up here and bypass this? No, it'll take him 3-4 turns. It'll take him 3 turns to get from here to there. That's half the game. They're going down the road. I think they have to go down the road. Let me know if you think they go otherwise. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and analyze it. But bypassing all those trees takes a long time. It would probably take, yeah, because these are 8 movement points for our trucks and our armored cars. So you'd be better off bypassing W4 for 8 and then going to V4 and U4 and trying to get off that way instead of trudging through this, because these are 8 apiece. And that's just, you know, 1 movement phase here, another movement phase to get to maybe like there, and then another movement phase here. So that's like 2 movement phases to get 5 hexes. Possible, yeah. If you're gonna do it, you have to do it. But infantry like to kill stuff like that. So that's kind of the general plan. I don't really want to engage his units. Again, I might jump some guys off, so I can set a barrier of infantry, maybe the barrier of armor. When he starts to try and move towards back, down, left, right. When he starts to move, I need to be able to shoot on him. And therefore, you know, whatever I got has got to stop his 1 or 2, 3 units. Remember, 6 morale on him, so he doesn't want to be caught out in the open. He's not going to be moving too much, in my assumption. But you never know. You never know what your opponent's going to do. They are Americans. They do have lots of smoke. So something to take into consideration. And he's got 4 dummy counters. I treat all units as their real units. I move accordingly. I don't presume that they're dummies. Like up here, I might presume that's a dummy. This might be a dummy, you know, that sort of thing like that. This guy might be, it's doubtful that that guy's a dummy unless there's a hip unit, like an FF8 covering, you know, that particular approach, or maybe this unit is covering that. So there will almost be no purpose to actually have a dummy there. The same thing with this location here. This may be to just slow me down from going down the Orchard Road or the road. So that's the way I approach the dummies. I keep track of the counters, as you see down here. Right? This is his entire OB. So I keep track of it down there. Oh, let me see. And when they start popping up, I say, okay, these guys pop up. These guys are done. Okay, hip. I remove the hip, move them off to the side. So therefore, I know what's the remaining in his OB. Okay, what's missing? Where's this guy? Where's that guy? You know, like, for example, is this unit revealed himself to cause loss of concealment by units coming in. So therefore, I know the 7-0. I think he happened to be in F4 right here. He exposed himself as a good order unit, enemy unit, real unit, to cause loss of concealments for everyone coming on P6. You know, no big deal. They're going to lose it anyway, their vehicles. So, but the other units, you just don't know. So that's my general plan. Yeah, I'm blabbing on for a while. But there's lots of important little things that you have to consider when you start playing the scenario. Like if you go top, where are you going to go? What direction are you going to go after you go in a road? I mean, if you go up here and you don't like it, then you got to come down here and either go around this way or bypass here, which is half your movement points, and then go through this location, and then of course here for 6 movement points. So there's turn 1, and then turn like 2, and then turn maybe 3 here, which is okay. I mean, it's okay, but you'll have 4 more turns left. So, well, that's the kicker on that. I think the French pretty much all they just need to do is keep moving forward, and hopefully the Americans don't get hot. It sounds kind of boring, but you can disembark and try to engage them and break them, and then jump back on like your motorcycles. But like again, if you've got the trucks in play, he's got to take a shot at them. And the best thing about it is if your trucks do get destroyed. Let's say your trucks get destroyed down here. What do your trucks do for you? Say, oh shit, I lost a truck. Oh, my life is over. I'm going to quit. Right? Let's say you drive up here and he blows this truck away with whatever he's got. What's going to happen? What's that do for you? What does a wreck icon do for you? Let me move this. What is that wreck going to do for you? It's going to create a hindrance. So guess what? All your motorcycles coming down this way now lose their -1 status, because if this guy's a real unit and he fires through this vehicle wreck, it's going to be even. And again, if it's an even fire attack and you're not affected by pin, your mobility increases dramatically, because that pin is going to be the highest value on that fire column. Most likely he's going to be firing on the 4, 6, or 8 column, and that's it. Because he's got more units, he's probably not going to waste 12 firepower on a single target, because you're going to be a target-rich environment. And let's say you lose another one. Let's say you lose another one like right here. Guess what? Fire through that area is +2. Fire lanes through that area are +2. Hard hindrance. Maybe it's armor. I don't know. I have to double check that. But I know it's just a general hindrance for a general fire. Fire lanes, again, low firepower. Oh, I'm missing that. I need to make a correction on that counter. So that's the idea. You can even afford to lose those vehicles as long as you lose them in strategic areas. Try not to lose them down here. If you're gonna move down here, move up here first. He's going to shoot these guys first, and then move your other vehicles down here, right? Because if these guys blow up next turn, when these are not considered mobile units, then you'll get the hindrance factor from that. So those are the lessons that we need to take away from this, is understanding that you will get wrecks in this game. You should get wrecks in this game, whether it be the armored cars or the trucks. Also, your motorcycles are good for mobility. Why are they good? If you break a unit, you might be able to reach him. Remember, 3 movement points in the open. If you've got 28 movement points, that's what, 8, 9, that's 9 hexes of movement in the open ground. That's pretty far. So let's say this unit were to break on turn 1, and we were like right here, and the same unit broken. So I could take a motorcycle that may have been like right here. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 4 makes 25. This unit cannot route. Kind of the similar that you would use cavalry like. You break the guy first, then you can, the motorcycle can overrun him at that point. You can overrun him and go through the next hex. Well, it might not have enough movement points for that. But use those motorcycles to get rid of these damn units. Because once you get rid of them, the Americans are going to rally if you give them a chance, period. But if you can get rid of these units free and clear, then you got nothing to worry about. And he's got fewer units to fire on you in future phases. So although you have vulnerable units, you will have to take chances. And if you don't like taking chances and try and dilly-dally with this and worry about taking losses, if you can't handle losses, maybe look into a scenario where you're in stone buildings somewhere in Stalingrad or some crap like that. But they probably have flamethrowers in those scenarios. So that's another reason why I chose this particular scenario. This is not a desert board. I changed the open ground to make it look like desert simply because it's in Morocco, in North Africa. It's probably green. You got olive groves and things like that. It's probably green and pretty and beautiful. But what the hell? VASLLOG allows you to do it. Kind of puts you in the mood for a Moroccan fight, and it's North Africa, and the French are coming, shit like that. The Americans are attacking. It puts you in the mood and the story that we all enjoy. So that's it. That's long, but that's what you have to think about when you're playing a game. Well, that's what I think about when I play a game. What you think about could be something completely differently. And that's about it. Nothing really special in this one. Here are the vehicles up top. Crew Survival 5, not terrible. So if your trucks do get destroyed, decent crew survival. AP9 is irrelevant in this particular scenario for the most part. Most likely you're going to be firing on those. And one interesting note about the vehicles here, if you fire your main armament, you may not fire your rear machine gun. So which one are you going to fire here? You're going to fire the 37, or are you going to fire the 4 firepower machine gun that's facing backwards from your turret? Because it's a coaxial association. It's behind the turret. Well, your 37 is going to give you what firepower? Look it up on your chart. Get your damn chart out. Look on the IFT chart. Where is it? Your 37 firepower is this column right here. Gee, is that something else you might have on your vehicle that doesn't need it to hit value, right? That goes straight to the 4 column. It can actually be 4-2 if the guys are moving in the open. So consider that. Consider swiveling your turrets around and come in on him with the ass of your turret facing with that machine gun. You don't need it to hit. It's one less roll for a sniper, and you get to fire straight on the 4 firepower table with TEM. Most of the terrain here is +1. Nothing to worry about. 4 + 1's doable. You know, if you pin an American, that's a good thing. The one thing that 37 does potentially get you is if he should happen to move in the open, again, you're going to be buttoned up. You can possibly get the, well, you get the -1 FFMO, FNM. So -2, you know, you might get a crit on a 4. If you're rolling a 4, if you have to roll the crit on a 4 or 5 to hit, guess what? You just gave up your 5 roll on the 4 chart, directly on the 4 chart. What does that give you? A 1 morale check. What morale level are the Americans most of the time? That's right. They're 6 morale. He needs a 5. These aren't 8 morale, 4, 6, 8s. You know, they're not 5, 4, 8s. They're not, you know, whatever. They're no illegal units, 6, 2, 8s. This is a real effect against American units. If you get 1 morale checks against him in this game, it will be over before the Americans say howdy doody time. That's about it. So thanks for watching this. Again, I like to go into some detail. If you don't like it, double speed it, you know, whatever. But I'm not here to teach you like a rule to do whatever. The rules come through the playing and strategy, right? You're not, if I just teach you how to drive a motorcycle, does that do anything for you? Does it do anything for you? Maybe, maybe not. But actually talking about how I'm going to use the motorcycles and how you implement those rules in the game is how you learn the game. I mean, you can learn you can know every rule in the damn rule book, but unless you pile them on one another and go for it, you're not gonna. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Oh, and one more thing. There's one more thing, and then we'll be done. Our vehicles, semi-expendable, right? Because we're going to be using our trucks for victory points. Park them right here. This truck's gone, right? Park them right here. And then your trucks start driving on the bottom. Trucks them out. What happens here? If we have all of these vehicles with their machine guns, with their ass machine guns pointing out at his fire base, first of all, we're hard targets. Any targets behind us can be +1 because they're armor if they're stopped from last turn. And you get 4 attacks on this unit here. These units going to be +1, and on the star chart, if you're given a +1 on the star chart, it's huge because the possibility of immobilization or destruction goes down dramatically. Goes down dramatically. You don't care if the units break on them, which is going to be a small window, because you can still move towards enemy units if you're broken in as a passenger. Not a big deal. Okay, these are points. This is just the booty getting off. You know, you can afford to lose 1 or 2 of these, use them as a hindrance, and then drive through this bullshit, and then maybe drop some infantry off over here, like the 237s. Charge this guy, jump into close combat, lock him up. You don't care how long it lasts. Your trucks are going by next turn. You don't care. You're not there to kill him. You're there to stop him from shooting at your trucks. So that's something else you need to think about when you're assaulting these locations. You don't care if you move to a position. You know, are you going to move units charging him in CC7? Hell, to the no, because he's going to fire on you and leave residual there, so your trucks can't go by. You're going to move him around, CX even, go to CC6. Because you're still vulnerable, equally vulnerable to both of them. If he fires there, you don't give a rat's ass. He's unlikely going to fire there. And guess what? Then you move in there, you bump out, and then you can move another unit here, you know, to advance fire on him, and then you advance fire on him because he's lost concealment. And then the turn after that, maybe you move the trucks through or something, whatever. The same turn, maybe subsequent first fire. You know, it doesn't matter. You got to take a chance. Nothing's given to you. Anyway, that's other things you have to look at when you're looking at this game. Hopefully, it will come to fruition. And I'll be able to execute my plan okay. Again, I'm trying wonky-ass stuff, off-the-wall stuff. Hopefully it's the way the scenario is supposed to be mastered or whatever. But I doubt it. I mean, I think the cookie cutter, go down there, Orchard Road, you know, whatever. But this is my plan. You know, you can choose a different plan. You can choose, line up all the trucks and go, you know, straight on through, hex by hex. It's possible. You can do that. But this is my plan, and let's see what happens, you know. If you like the scenario, if you like the way it's developing, if you like the design of the particular scenario, whip it out. It's on Out of the Attic. Out of the Attic 24, 0824. Is that in Volume 2? I have no clue. Yes. Right there, baby. I actually got it printed off here, but who gives a crap? It's in Out of the Attic, issue number 2. I think you could download that from Wargame Vault. They're not giving me jack shit for promoting it, but you could download it from Wargame Vault for like $8, $6, some shit like that. It comes with a bunch of scenarios, decent articles, etc., etc. Out of the Attic 1 is also on there, I believe, for like $6 or $8. Just get them. If you're getting into ASL, just get them. It's just ASL. It's got good articles in there. Good array of scenarios. Are they the best scenarios? I have no clue. But they are scenarios. They're cheap. Damn cheap. So go buy them. Spend your money. Don't go get the latte bullshit in the morning. That's $8. That's one of these, right? You skip Starbucks and you get a free Out of the Attic. courtesy of Stu, right? But you have to pay for it. So, all right, that's it, guys. Blabbered way too much, but you know the drill. Now, you need to go play some ASL. Take care, guys.